so with line quality and line weight, you know that line quality makes or breaks a drawing. And so line quality is basically the way that you put down a line, and line weight is literally the weight of it, the thickness, the heaviness, the darkness of it. So you can have a thick, dark line, and that is the line weight. But then if you taper and get lighter, then now you have some line quality because things are different. You're varying your line weights. Okay, so if I go back to this initial drawing of the blind contour and then the contour of my hand, it's still in sketch form, so I want to make it nicer. So I'm going to switch to a different pencil just to show you guys some things. Let's see, is this what I want to use? No. There we go. So this is a 2B woodless graphite. So when it comes to blind contour, you always want to close one eye. When you're doing something that has so much foreshortening, which we'll talk about later on in the semester, you want to close your eye to kind of squish down the 3 dimensions into 2 dimensions for your vision, and that'll help you draw more accurately. What I want to do is look at the places where there are shadows. So if you can see right here, there's a slight shadow that this finger is casting on that finger. So maybe this line, this contour, inner contour line is going to be just a little bit darker, but not too dark because you don't want it to be an outline, because then it's a cartoon or a comic. So I'm just going to go ahead and start with this one. So just a little bit, and because my knuckle kind of disappears into my hand, I'm going to go ahead and let that line taper and turn into my hand. You see where I'm darkening in certain areas of importance? Now since we're back at the contour, excuse me, the outline. Now since I'm not looking at my fingers, I'm just kind of making this up, but you should definitely be looking at your finger because I think it's a little, my hand happens to cast a shadow and I'm afraid you can't see. But you can see where this gets a little bit darker because that's a knuckle and it has some oomph to it. You want to make sure people see that there's a knuckle there. Fingertips, as you go around the fingertip, you can kind of lessen those a little bit because the fingertips are so airy and there's not a lot of weight to them. So you can get rid of, not the line itself, but just lighten it up a little bit. Now, because this line right here, this crease, is just kind of fleshy, it doesn't have a bone underneath it, it's not hard, I'm going to let that line be a little lighter. See how that is? And the same goes for this one right here. Just a little lighter, because you don't want it to feel hard, you want it to feel fleshy and soft. Same goes for these lines that are kind of wrinkly right here. See where this wrist bone is? I'm making that just a little bit darker, but you'll notice that my lines are not going dark to light as I'm going. They're going from dark, tapering into light. So that's line quality. This is good line quality. This is not good line quality. You don't want to break one thing to another. You want it to flow. Flow is very good for line quality. Same thing goes for implied line. So an implied line is when lines, I guess you could think of it as a dotted line, where if you have a dotted line, our eyes can see that these are lines, but our brains are smart enough to know that this, even though there's no line there, means that this line continues. So when it comes to line quality, that's not a great line quality, but letting it taper and then disappear and then pick back up and get darker. So that's a better kind of implied line quality. So I hope that you can see the line quality in this drawing is much different than the line quality in the blind contour, because the blind contour was pretty much one note, right? Whereas over here, you can see how things kind of darken and then dissipate and pick back up and get harder, and you have a more fluid line, right? That's good line quality, and that's what you need to be practicing for your drawings from here on out.